Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to use the alignment and distribute panel in Inkscape, and you'll see that I have some beer on my canvas and I have a set of crosshairs. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the crosshairs, or we're going to try to put the crosshairs on the beer. So we start out with our crosshairs selected. Now what we need to do is we need to get our align and distribute panel open. And if your version of Inkscape has a panel open already, you can come over here to this arrow and click it and then select the line and distribute panel from this list, and it will open that panel. Or if, let's say, you don't have this open and you just have a strip of tools like this, you can come down here and hit this arrow and then click align and distribute, and that will open it. Or you can, regardless of whether or not it's open, let's say that you have just the layers and objects panel open, but you want to open the align and distribute. You could do it this way like we said, you could do it this way like we said, or you could come up here to objects, and at the very bottom you'll see it listed there, and you could click that, or you could Shift Control A. That's a shortcut key combination that you can type Shift Control A, and that will open it just like that. So that's basically all we need to have open is our layers panel. And the reason why we need this open is because I want to show you some stuff as we're making our selections. And then you'll have your align and distribute panel open. So let's say that we want to put the crosshairs on this beer right here, and that's beer number 1 in the layers. So let's say we want to put these crosshairs on that. Well, how do we do that? You'll see here in the align and distribute panel, you have, starting right here, you have this relative to selection, or this relative to drop down menu, and you've got a bunch of different options in here. So you can change this to either the last thing selected, the first thing selected, the biggest object, smallest object, or the page, drawing, selection area. We're not going to do all of those because really I only find myself using like 3 out of the 7 of these. I'll use the page, obviously, and then I'll also use last selected or first selected. Now, the thing that you want to keep in mind, the easiest way to understand what's going to happen when you do this alignment is just think of this relative to setting as being the thing that stays in place. So let's say I wanted to move these crosshairs over this beer right here. Well, what thing do I want to stay in place? Well, it's this beer. So I can either select it first or I can select it last. But whatever I'm going to do, I need to tell Inkscape the last thing that I select is the thing I want to keep in place, and I want to move the other thing to where it's at. Or I can say the first thing that I select is the thing I want to keep in place, and I want to move the other thing to it. So whichever one you choose in here, that's the thing you've got to do for the object that you're going to keep in place. In this case, it's set to first selected, so we're going to select it first, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to select the crosshairs. Now both of them are selected, and I can start pressing these buttons to align them. Right under here you'll see that these alignment buttons, they can be kind of confusing at first too, but the key is to look at the green line that's in the icon. Where's the green line? And how do you want to align these things? Do you want them to be aligned to the left, or do you want them to be aligned at the top? Do you want the bottom aligned, the right aligned? Do you want the centers aligned? That's what all of these buttons do. Wherever the green line is, that's the part of the objects that's going to line up. So if we want this to be directly centered with this, we would need to center it this way on the vertical axis, and we would need to center it this way on the horizontal axis. And since we selected this one first, it's going to be the thing that stays in place. So if I click this and then click this, we've got our two objects aligned. So we've aligned the crosshairs to the beer. And now they're both selected, so I need to deselect them and then just choose one and separate them. So that's how you use the first selected. The last selected works the exact same way, except for if you have this in here, you have to choose the thing that's going to stay still last. So you would choose your crosshairs first and then hold down shift and choose the beer last. And then you could align them the same way. Now you saw what these do. They align the centers. What about the right edges? If you select the right edge, it's going to move the first thing selected is going to be the thing that moves. So this should slide these over here, and this handle, the right side of this bounding box, should line up with the right side of this one. So if I click that, that's what happens. So they're aligned. The right sides are lined up. Now, just to kind of highlight really what's happening here, I'm going to make this beer a little bit bigger. So now you've got two things, right? You've got this and you've got this, and since we want this to stay in place, we want to select it last. So I'm going to hold down shift, and now if I move this over, see how the right sides are aligned but the left sides are not. What if we wanted to align the left side? Well, we would push the button that has the green line on the left side of it. So what we've done is we've aligned the left side of this object with the right side of this beer. This is the thing that we want to keep in place, so we're going to select crosshairs and hold down shift. Now what if we want the left sides to line up, align the left edges? So there's two buttons here that I want you to, and really if you forget what does what, all you have to do is point at the button and read what it says it's going to do. The left edges of the objects to the right edge of the anchor. And the anchor is the thing that is not moving. So relative to, and then whatever's in here, that's going to be your anchor. And so when we press this, it aligned the left edges of the object, this one, the moving object, to the right side of the anchor. But this button aligns both left edges. So it's important because those buttons look almost exactly the same. They're just a little bit different, if at all. So with these two selected, the crosshairs should move over to the left side of this mug, and they do. So you get the idea here. You see that we're moving an object that's selected to a position based on where the anchor is, and the anchor is whatever is set to relative to. Now, can you do multiple ones? Yes, you can. Let's say that we want to line these beers up. Actually, I want them all to be the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set each one to to a certain width. Let's make them 135 wide, each one of them. We'll set the widths to be the same, and then we will, I'm just going to eye this up a little bit. It's not going to matter because the alignment, that's part of the alignment tool, is we're going to align these up on their left edges, and we're just going to, which one do we want? We'll set the one where we want it to be. So we're going to align all of them based on where this one's at. So what we're going to do is choose first selected on this, since this is the one that we don't want to move and it's already selected. So what we're going to do is make sure that one's selected first, then we're going to hold down our shift key and select the other two beers. Then what we'll do is we'll align their left edges, or better yet, let's align their center vertical axis by clicking this, and now they're all lined up. Now let's say one of these was down here. Let's say we wanted to space these out evenly on this canvas. How would we do that? Well, what you can do, in fact, let's say we want all four of these objects to be evenly spaced out. So we're going to put the crosshairs up here on top as well. Alright, so what we want is we want these to all be in a line, and we want to have even space between them. Well, what we would do is we'd set the one that we want to be the anchor. Let's say we want it to be right there. And then we would select all of the other ones and make sure our anchor was set to the first thing that we selected, which was the crosshairs. And we're going to click center on vertical axis. And so now we have them all in a straight line, but they're not spaced out correctly. Well, that's where your distribute panel comes in. And your distribute panel, it's a lot like the alignment panel, in the sense that you got to look at where the green lines are. And you'll see that you've got the tooltips on this as well. And the one we're looking for is this one right here. Distribute vertically with even vertical gaps. So we want to distribute all four of these things evenly with the same amount of space between each one of them. Well, what it's going to do is it's going to leave the first thing and the last thing that you clicked, it's going to leave those two things in place, and it's going to space everything out evenly. So when I hit this button, these two beers should move. This one not so much. This one should probably drop down quite a bit. And now you have the same amount of space between each one of these that you had before. Now, that gives you an idea of how you line certain things up with other things on the canvas. What about the canvas itself? Well, it works the same way. All you do is you just set this to page, and now everything that you select is going to be lined up with the page's borders, either its center or its edges. So we'll put this beer over here in the upper right hand corner. So how would we do that? We would select the beer by itself, and then we would click the button that shows the right edge, right? Align right edges of objects to the left edge of the anchor. That's not the one we want. We want this one. Align right edges. So we want the right side of this beer to hit this edge. So we hit that, and then we go up to the top and we align the tops. And the tops are right down here. So that one's in the upper right hand corner. Let's put the crosshairs in the upper left hand corner. How do we do that? Well, we select this one and this one. And we'll move this beer to the lower left hand corner since it's close to that point already. So we'll hit the align bottom edges, and then we'll hit the align left edges. And then our last one here is this beer, and we will align it to the right and the bottom. So now we've got everything on an edge. So that's how you line certain icons up or certain objects up to the edges of the canvas. But you can align all of these. You can center all of these at once as well, and you'll find yourself doing this quite a bit, especially if you're working on things that start in the center of the canvas and you build it outward like in a circular pattern. You'll want to keep everything aligned to the middle of a page, and you just have page set to your anchor, and then you click each one of these, and now everything is in the middle of the page. So that is a demonstration of the align and distribute panel, and you can do a lot of different things with it. You can distribute. Let me do one more here. Let's say we want all of these. Let's say we want these to go from the upper left hand corner diagonal down to the right hand corner. How would we do that? It's pretty easy. You just what you would do is you would select all of these, and you would actually what you'd do is you'd select the first one and put it in the upper left hand corner, just like that. You'd select the last one and put it in the lower right hand corner, and you would do that like this. And now you would select all of them. Okay, and actually I'm going to select them individually here. Select all of them, and then you would distribute them first horizontally or vertically, whichever you want to do first, but you would distribute them on both of these. You would do up and down first and then horizontally second, and now you have your alignment. They're spaced out evenly down and across. So you get the idea. You can use multiple buttons to move things to an exact location. But this one big thing that you got to pay attention to is what you're moving everything relative to. Whatever's in this setting is the thing that's going to be the anchor. It's the thing that's not going to move. Everything's going to move based on it rather than it moving based on anything else. So that's how you use the align and distribute panel. There are some things we didn't cover, but they're things that you really, if you're trying to align things, those are the basics, and you can tinker around with some of these other things. Obviously, if you had a bunch of things on your canvas, you might want to experiment with some of these buttons that rearrange the objects, but usually you're wanting to line things up or even things out, and those are the basics for doing it in the align and distribute panel. So I hope that helps, and thanks for watching.